Appropriate response to this. Glenn Beck, our old friend, is the host of the Glenn Beck radio program. Of course, he joins us tonight on The Story. Glenn, thanks so much for coming on. So you're a parent. How would you respond to something like this?
I'd file a lawsuit with the teachers union myself.
Yeah.
I can't believe what's going on, Tucker. It is completely out of control. And you have to ask yourself, why? Why are they pushing this like this? What do they have to gain? Because it's not our health. I really don't believe that.
Well, certainly not in the case of children, where there is a demonstrated and actual risk. It's not, not to every child, but there is very little risk from coronavirus. So this is like crazy. So you've done some reporting on this, on some of the incentives we may not be aware of behind these drugs.
Yeah.
If you'll tell us what you found.
So, okay, so this is a 2-hour chalkboard that is condensed into about 4 minutes. So if you want to see the whole thing, it's at FauciLive.com. But I'll try not to sound crazy and tie this together. Gain of function, which Fauci says never happened in November of 2015. It happened with Dr. Barrett. It was a published paper, November 2015. The USAID and Fauci with EcoHealth, they were funding it. It was happening with the Wuhan people, so we know that. But what you may not know is in November, the same month that published paper comes out, the United States begins a partnership with Moderna, and they are searching for mRNA coronavirus vaccines. Kind of a weird coincidence, but wait, it gets worse. In this time, we skip to 2018, DARPA receives a proposal from Dr. Barrett, US guy, Dr. Shi from Wuhan, and Peter Daszak from EcoHealth, EcoHealth. And DARPA sees this and says, this is far too dangerous. We're rejecting your proposal. We don't know what happened from there, but we do know just about 12 months later in Wuhan, where Peter Daszak, Dr. Shi, the Bat Lady, and Dr. Barrett were all doing research on coronaviruses. About a year later, there's an outbreak, and the outbreak actually begins, according to documents that we have that have been smuggled out of China, that there were 10 hospitals involved by October with patients that we now know are corona-like virus symptoms. They didn't know what was going on. Now that was in October. Remember, we didn't know anything about this in December. We were starting to get rumblings. China said there was some sort of an outbreak on December 31st. But Dr. Barrett signs a government deal with Moderna. I want to read it exactly to you. This deal was made. It's confidential. It's 158 pages long. It is, if I skip to page 104, they are entering a specific private confidential agreement. The NIH appears to be transferring technology to Dr. Barrett, but what they're making clear is, quote, mRNA coronavirus vaccine candidates developed and jointly owned by NIAID and Moderna. Now, this is weird because it's 2 weeks later that we know there's a problem. They signed that deal 2 weeks before, and they signed it with the doctor who happened to be a partner with the Bat Lady in Wuhan. Here's where it gets really dark. These are the same group of people that in the end of January begin to have meetings, and they shut down and begin to smear anyone who's looking into the lab leak theory. They establish that's not true. Don't even look there. It appears to be collusion. We've passed this on to several people in Congress and the Senate. We know Rand Paul is on this, and Dr. Fauci has some answers to give.
Well, I just want to affirm what you're saying. The amazing reporting you've done on this. Here's a clip of the recently departed NIH director, Francis Collins, admitting on camera that the U.S. government has a stake in the vax. Watch this.
Who's going to own that vaccine? Does the federal government own it?
One of the vaccines, the one that's furthest along, was started actually at the federal government in our own vaccine research center at NIH. and then worked with a biotechnology company called Moderna to get to where we are now with very impressive phase 1 results and getting ready to go into a large-scale trial as early as July. That one, of course, we do have some particular stake in the intellectual property.
This just I mean, you are not making this up. What you're saying is true. Really quickly, why is this not a front page story everywhere?
All of the documents, we spent about a year on this with people like Charles Rixley from Drastic, with Judicial Watch. They were all FOIA'd. These are documents that prove beyond, I think, any kind of reasonable doubt, something very wrong is happening here. Moderna had been turned down for any kind of vaccine research by everyone publicly over and over again. And now this test is being done on our children. This is the only time that anybody will admit they were doing any kind of testing on coronavirus research for a vaccine with Moderna.
It's just beyond belief. And I'm glad finally someone is saying this out loud. Glenn Beck, I appreciate your reporting on this. Thank you. It's great to see you tonight.
Thank you. Thank you, Tucker.